We are back with another episode of Initial Reactions. I'm sorry, I messed that up. We're here with our initial reactions from the Detroit Lions 31-30 win on the road in Chicago. Back-to-back wins. Our first road win with Dan Campbell. We accomplished a lot today. So let's get it started.
Fired up. It's made a great decision.
Great teammates, coaches, and other people who want to be Super Bowl champions. And we're going to do it this year.
And we're going places, because we want to go places.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
And welcome everybody to our video. Glad you guys are here. And we are back, man, to celebrate the Lions' victory. I mean, this one is just amazing. I mean, it really is. Just to think about what took place in this game, we were at such a low there. I mean, the energy was very low when this thing became 24-10. And to think the way that they came back to do it on the road in a game that just, you were losing hope. I mean, you really were. There was a lot of things going wrong defensively. It didn't seem like we could get off the field. Offensively, everything started to kind of turn on us, whether it was a messed up fumble and, you know, we had success offensively in the first half, but we barely saw the field. In the second half, we're shooting ourselves in the foot, and everything just kind of seemed to be lost. But they battled back, and they found a way to pick up a crazy win. So here I am to give you my initial reactions from this game. Obviously, I haven't watched any of the game back, so this is just based on what I've seen and some of the numbers that I've seen from this game. We'll do that all 22 look later in the week, but this is just one of those games where you just want to celebrate. I mean, you just do. If you don't feel good right now, I don't know what's wrong with you, unless you're a Bears fan. Then I can understand that. My cheeks kind of hurt. I'm not going to lie. I think I was smiling or yelling so much. My cheeks actually hurt. I don't know what's going on there. So with that, let's dive into this. Some of my key takeaways from this game. Well, let's start off with the biggest thing, okay? So one thing that we've talked about going back to the bye week is most games in the NFL come down to one score. There's only a few teams that consistently stay out of those types of games, but a lot of games are one scores in the NFL. And we looked over the Lions statistically, basically, and when they've had success in these close games, when they haven't had success in these close games, these 2 years so far under Dan Campbell. And you saw a consistent theme was defensively unable to get off the field, unable to make that big play that you just need, unable to get our offense back on the field. We saw that so consistently. A breakdown defensively when we should be to put it away on the defensive side of the ball. Now, of course, sometimes that comes into the offense, but statistically, it usually comes down to the defense making the plays when you need it most. Take a look at the Bills-Vikings game. An interception in the end zone, it's over. Not just the last drive, but the last few drives. And what we saw last week against Green Bay, a perfect example of that. The Lions obviously made crucial stops. It wasn't perfect defensively, and we know it's not going to be perfect defensively. The Lions do have some holes defensively, and again, I haven't seen the All-22, but I know we have some holes defensively, and we had some issues in this game. We know it's not going to be great. Lions defense just frankly isn't that good. But when we need it most, can we make some plays? Can we make a few plays when the game is on the line when we need them most? And last week we did that against Green Bay. We got off the field. We made interceptions. We got stops in the red zone. But specifically, the game was on them. It came down to them. You were up by 6. Aaron Rodgers had it. And usually in that situation, we lose that game historically. I understand the Packers situation, but our defense made the plays and they won the football game. This week, this game against Chicago, let me just walk you through the final 5 possessions offensively for Chicago, because it was a 14-0 third quarter in this game. We were down 24-10. The morale was low, and the final 5 possessions defensively for the Lions went like this. Punt, which was a 3-and-out. I believe it was a 3-and-out. The pass breakup by Alex Anzalone. An interception return for 6, which was just a few plays where Aiden Hutchinson got in the way of the screen. He picked it up, and then he just kind of threw it, and Jeff Okudah was sitting there, picked it off, and took it back home. A touchdown, which is the one touchdown, the one score they allowed in that 5-drive stretch, which was a 67-yard broken run where the Lions just, they gave up contain, basically. It looked like a read option, if I'm remembering correctly, and he took off for 67 yards on a 3rd and 2 and scored. A punt was the next possession, which was a 2-yard run, and then coverage, which led to a 1-yard run for Justin Fields. And then finally, the final possession of the game defensively, which was downs. That's how the last 5 possessions went defensively for the Lions. The defense stood up. They absolutely did. And I can't tell you right now what adjustments they made and things like that, but I can say this. The run defense dialed in a little bit. the huge chunk that we gave up, that was a problem. But aside from that, you weren't getting the 9-10 yards every single run. You were getting 2 yards on first down. Just made it feel completely different. Clearly, they did not want to throw the football. So credit to the Lions back end. You know how excited I am about having guys like Jerry and then playing Mike on the outside and Will in the slot. I like those guys a lot. And sometimes it just seemed like, man, we just couldn't get there. I mean, he just had the ball so long. But they were playing through the run, which makes sense. That's what Chicago is. They don't throw the ball a ton, and they don't really have many passing yards, but they run the ball a ton, and they have a lot of rushing yards. And in this game, it lived up to that statistically. They had over 7 yards rushing, which is an issue. It is an issue that they averaged 7.2 yards per carry. A couple big ones in there definitely made that number what it is, but that's an issue. But passing the football was not great. When the game started to get down there towards the end, where they had downs, it was the Lions' pass defense that got off the field and made the plays. But they definitely tightened it up defensively against the run, and the defense stood tall when we needed it most. Okay, now quick note on the offense. I loved the way another great example of playing complementary football for the Detroit Lions to have scored to make it a 7-point game offensively. Then defensively, you get a pick six by Jeff Okudah to tie it. Defensively, you're back on the field. You give up a 67-yard touchdown run, and you're feeling like, man, all the air just went out the sails of the Lions, right? With the time that's less than 6 minutes, 5:23 to start that final drive, the Lions scored a touchdown on, down by 6 because they mixed the extra point, and the Lions took advantage of it. They went 91 yards in 8 plays. 91 yards in 8 plays after not having an ideal second half. A lot of things shot themselves in the foot. You take a look at some of these, and sometimes they were blown assignments, whatever it may be, but you take a look at some of their second half possessions. They had a punt that was a complete blown block on a 3rd and 1, where you should pick that up, you blow the block, and you don't pick it up. There was another punt, which was really led to because of the fumble that they had between Jared Goff and Khalif Raymond, where Khalif didn't even look like he thought he was supposed to take the football, and Jared looked like he was handing it to him on the end around, and that led to a fumble, put us in 3rd and 20, so we had a punt. And then another punt was a sack on a play action that was an immediate blown block. I think that was on Penei Sewell, and then it was not a great pass to Shane Zylstra that was still catchable, that was incomplete. So the Lions did a lot of things to themselves. They also missed some plays, and credit to the Bears defense for that. But to bounce back that way and play that complementary style where it's like, hey, defense helped you get back into this. Now offense, the game can't end here. You got to make a play. And that's exactly what they did. To go 91 yards, it did not feel like that was possible. It really didn't feel like that in a sense. And you also have to think the Lions picked up a 3rd and 8 on that drive, which was coming off of a minus 5-yard run from DeAndre Swift. It was 3rd down and 8, and you picked up a 44-yard pass to Tom Kennedy in man coverage on 3rd down and 8. That last drive was key. Some of the crucial plays from that drive. You had a 20-yard pass to Khalif Raymond on that possession. You had the 44-yard completion on a 3rd down and 8. And then, of course, you had a 13-yard jet sweep pass to St. Brown, which led to you punching it in. I think it was a misdirection run there with Jamal Williams. That drive was outstanding. I mean, it really was. And it was kind of clear. It felt like in the game that, okay, play action, we were blowing some blocks. But when we were sitting in normal pass sets, we were giving our guy a lot of time. They don't get a ton of pressure. They rarely blitz, right? They don't do those kinds of things very often. I've had time with how depleted we were at receiver. We lost Trinity Benson in this game, which actually, that flag was gigantic because then, the interception didn't count. But you lost Trinity Benson. You lost St. Brown for like a play. And to have that all going on and then go make that kind of drive is huge. And of course, they also finished it off by not giving the Bears even a chance. On 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7, Jamal picked up 7 yards to pick up the first down. Still would have probably been over, but then you don't have to mess with the field goal. You don't have to mess with, do we go for it? You pick up the first down and you seal it. That is complementary football, but it's also clutch. That is a clutch possession by the Lions offense. To stay cool, to have a guy like Tom Kennedy rise up and break open, to stay calm in a pocket, and then not shoot yourself in the foot when you need it most, but then again, defensively, when they needed it, 4 of their last 5 drives, they got off the field. They scored 7 points. They gave up 1 touchdown. So they basically gave up nothing, technically, in the last 5 possessions defensively, and a lot of them were quick. That was awesome. Now, I need to give out a spotlight quickly. Aiden Hutchinson, he had like 3 awesome timely plays. Of course, the biggest one to me being the sack that he had. Chicago was not doing very well passing the football. I think we did good. We did a good job. You look at like the red zone where he ended up scoring, but they switched it off really well with Jerry Jacobs, and they didn't have it immediately. There was a couple times like that they tried to rollouts. They weren't able to have success on the rollouts. I don't know what we were doing. I'm sure we were just communicating well, getting physical off the line because that's what we're built to do. So we kind of shut those down, which is a big part of the Bears' game plan. We shut those down. Some plays just went on too long. But they were having a ton of success throwing the football straight up, which is, again, kind of understood because they're not great at that. But Aiden Hutchinson with a key sack on a 2nd down and 10 after an incomplete pass where Cole Kmet got knocked down by Jeff Okudah on the route. To have that sack make it 3rd down and 15, set up that you were able to get off the field. And, of course, there was a battle at the end there on 4th down. Things were chippy, right? We were just trying to get the guy down at all costs. But we made the plays there at the end. Hutchinson, that was awesome. Obviously, the screen that led to the interception, and then the red zone play where he just Superman the dude and just threw him on the ground was like, oh my goodness, this guy's a problem. Jeff Okudah, again, I haven't seen the All-22, but there were 2 monster plays. The pick 6, of course, taking advantage of the opportunity, which, if you took a look at last week when Kirby had the pick in the end zone, the other guy that attacked the football was Jeff Okudah. He's looking to attack the ball. He made a great play there, maybe gave him some confidence, and he came back on Chase Claypool, put the dude in an absolute Ziploc bag, zipped it up, glued that dang thing. He was in the hip, and he got his head around. He almost picked the ball off. But again, what you like about that is we've had those where, man, we missed the opportunity. Oh, man, now we're going to give a touchdown. But that wasn't the case. Jeff Okudah with 2 great plays. I can't see the All-22 yet. I don't know what coverage looked like in the back end, but it looked pretty darn good in the sense that they weren't really having success there. It could have been just missing guys. It's possible. But regardless, huge job by Jeff Okudah. Those 2 guys stand out defensively. Obviously, Jared Davis got some looks defensively. If I'm missing someone that you're thinking of, dude, throw it in the comment section. I know I'm missing some players. Okay, those are just the guys that obviously come to mind first. Losing to Sean Elliott was tough. I hope he's all right because they put Kirby in some spots that we've had him in man positions. Obviously, they gave the touchdown on the tight end. That's not where he's at his best, is against tight ends. We saw that early in the year against Seattle, but it kind of put him into some more of those assignments because they're not going to put CJ Moore there. Deshaun Elliott usually plays more of the down-in-the-box man type of role, which is kind of what you signed him for. But with that injury, we had to change it up, and there were some issues with that. Clearly, we did not contain great. Had a lot of problems for a majority of that game. Then again, on the last 5 possessions, they tightened things up defensively, and they limited those first down huge runs. They didn't build any momentum. We forced them to pass the football, and then key players came through in key moments. Duracell, Jeff Okudah, Aiden Hutchinson. Also seen them put Hutchinson in a lot of the read option situations, which is difficult, but he handled it pretty well. You think about the rollout that he had where Justin Fields couldn't get outside and he had to throw it away. You think about the saving tackle that he had late in the game where the Lions get upfield, but he is like the one guy, kind of the last defense where if he gets by Hutchinson, this might break for a huge gain because no one brought him down the backfield. Hutchinson sits right there and brings him down for a 1-yard gain. I mean, it's those things that he's done all year. Smart player, reliable, and big time. The dogs came through when we needed it most. Offensively, St. Brown went crazy today. 10 receptions for 119 yards. He was back to last year's, end of the year self. Part of that is because we don't really have any weapons. And I give credit to the offense just for that. I love the creativity that Ben uses. He tried to use creativity last week to just make it work with what he had. This week, I thought we did better in pass protection by the eye test just now, especially when we went to some of those normal pass sets. Play action, we clearly blew some blocks, but we did pretty well in pass protection. And to be limited with the weapons that we had, Goff on the day was 19 for 26, touchdown, no interceptions, the one, had the flag, and a 113.6 passer rating. Meanwhile, we didn't even run the football that well in this game. However, on that last touchdown drive, Jamal started it off with like an 11-yard run. He didn't run very well in the day. We didn't create a lot of holes consistently, but we did on that touchdown run, we did on the misdirection, and we did on the first play of that final offensive drive. You created holes when you needed it most, you didn't pick up flags, and you springboarded some big runs that really set it up for the Lions. They only averaged 3.1 yards per carry in this game as a team rushing. They didn't run the football that well. But I do give credit because I thought Jared Goff played a very patient game from the eye test. That's one thing that stood out. I thought he played very patient. He didn't panic. There was, it wasn't the best day, like every throw was money. Not every throw was money, and maybe he could have helped us a little bit more on some of those sacks for sure. But to stay patient in some of those pass sets where you have to wait for guys to get open because, look, we don't have a ton of weapons right now where you can, this is my guy I'm going to. It's much easier for that to be taken away. So you have to be patient and get through it, and then shout out to the offensive line for giving him the time to get through guys, towards the end of this game. So I do credit the patience that I felt like he played with this game. I mean, this guy was cool, calm, and collected. There was never a panic. And he may have been able to help us a little bit more on the Sewell sack. But when I talk about calm and patience to come back with a free rusher, avoid the rusher, take off, pick 10 yards up, and draw a flag, get into it with the Chicago Bears, and that fires you up as a fan just watching that. And obviously they drew the 15-yard flag, and they were still going at it after the game when it was over. But that's what I'm talking about. And then, of course, I know I touch on this a lot, but just a connection with him and Goff. He said they worked on that. If we get a man coverage look, because we saw last week, it was taken away against the Packers. They gave us man. Kennedy was wide open. And at the same time, all the checks, the changes at the line of scrimmage that you consistently see them make based on what the defense shows, the comfortability is very clear from year 1 to year 2 in this offense. And again, credit to the defense, because to me, they are the side that made this happen, but that's just how it works. That's how it goes. You win close games, a lot of times it's defense that comes through, and now for 2 straight weeks, the defense have come through in 2 different ways. See, they had to slow down the run to get them to pass the football. They came through. Last week, they got the plays through the pass, where Aaron Rodgers tested him over and over and over and over. I'm very excited about the back end. I don't really know what happened in the front, so some of those runs, I'll have to check that out. We knew they were going to run well and that it was going to be a problem. But again, when you need it most, you got to make those plays. And now 2 weeks in a row, the defense has stepped up, which is how you win close games. It's how you win on the road. It doesn't have to be pretty, but my goodness, this was a fantastic win across the board for the Lions. This is huge, man. For Dan Campbell, this is huge for really everything that's involved. Not only just Dan Campbell, it's huge the fact that we, are 2-1 in our division. It's huge for the fact that we are still in the playoff race. Like, y'all think I'm crazy saying that, but you guys know me. I'm never not looking at the playoff race. I'm just never not. I was looking at it, Patricia's last year. I was looking at it last year when we won a football game, even though that one was kind of just a joke. But literally, I don't stop looking at it. The team in the 7th seed has 4 wins. So I'm always looking at that. And the point is, that's what the players are playing for. They're playing week by week, and they're trying to do that. That's the goal. Lions have been a lot of close games this year, but now 2 straight weeks, the defense, which has over the last year and a half not made the plays, have made the plays defensively to get us off the field. Who am I going to give the game ball out to? I don't know if I should do that because I haven't seen it back. Do I give it to Hutch? That last play, Julian and Alex, I love that they blitzed, by the way, just to point out that play in particular. The fact that they decided to bring a blitz, which I was standing there I think you got to blitz. It looked like they blitzed. You got to get out of the hands because he's just standing around creating, and it's not long enough where it's 4th and 8's not a far enough distance where you can give him extra time. You know he's going to look to run and move around because that's his skill set. That's what he does. He knows he's going to revert to that if his first look is not there, and that's what he did. But you brought pressure, and you didn't get there. You missed a couple plays. You missed a couple sacks, but you did get on him, and it kind of messes up everything. And you finish it off that way. Offensively, some of the creativity that comes to mind, of course, the red zone play on 4th down and goal to get a wide open tight end once again for the 2nd straight week, the same way with the fast motion to get him uncovered. And Brown at running back, they did a little I don't know what you call it, like a touch pass to St. Brown early in the game. Obviously the jet sweep. There was some creativity there that I loved. It wasn't perfect, but it was a win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Shout out to Michael Badgley. Also, I got to give him a shout out. I mean, the guy's holding it down at kicker, and I got to make sure I give him love because their kicker missed the extra point, which was huge. Ours didn't miss it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.